the studio, but not on the front end. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I think that might actually be the case. Like,
I see it on the studio, but not on the front end.
yeah. Are you repeating what I'm saying, or you're actually agreeing?
I'm trying to understand what you mean by that.
I'm well, it says watching now, so we'll see. I am looking at youtube.com through Dom Filari, and I can't see it, but I'm on the back end in plugged in studio, and I can see it.
There was a new YouTube update this morning.
Okay, chat is confirming they can see it now. They've just confirmed they can see it now.
Did they have audio?
And
Did we have audio?
Now. It's going now. Yeah, all right, we're good. We're good.
There was
dude. YouTube borked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there was an update to their back end, and we noticed a lot of issues this morning when we were going through some stuff. So, not surprising that we've discovered some more ish. But
we're locked
glad
in.
We're good to go.
I think they missed that whole intro, by the way.
All right.
They had no audio before.
Well, it's unlucky.
So.
Basically,
you're not going to hear all the great details about Abe's bowel movements.
No.
Yeah, it was a one and done thing. I don't think irrepeatable. Honestly,
I can ask chat if they've ever had a back spasm so bad that it didn't allow them to poop for a week.
Yeah, that's fair.
All my muscles were locked when I had this back spasm, and I couldn't poop for a week. And I'm a 3-a-day kind of guy, is what I was saying. And it was bad, guys. It was bad. But, you know, we don't have to keep talking about poop. We already did that for 10 minutes.
What's happening in the world, Abe?
Let's get it.
All right, well, let's just get right into it then. So it's actually it's good that you mentioned the world, Mark, because we got some international angry people this week. It's not gamers; it's actually the European Union. But you know what? Roll the clip anyway.
They're mad all the same.
Roll the clip.
What are they pissed about?
Well, they're mad about games and in-game currency, specifically as it pertains to targeting children.
Yeah.
So there was a complaint, and this complaint came into the SCA, which I believe is the Swedish Consumer Association, and then they coordinated with the EU Commission, and who involved the CPC network, which is their Consumer Protection Cooperation Network. A lot of different organizations getting involved here. The agencies, there you go, that's the word I was looking for. But basically what this comes down to is they're making an enforcement action against a company called Star Stable Entertainment. They're responsible for a game called Star Stable Online, which I believe through my research is a horse game.
We'll check out.
Game.
So it's like you feed horses and stuff. So it's clearly a game targeting children. And what they're really coming after them for is a lot of the stuff in how not only does their advertisements and game appeal to children, but it's how they involve.
Wait. It's clearly catered towards children because it's a horse feeder game.
Have you? I mean, if you take a look at it, I'll pull it up over here. Their website here. You are a small child who rides horses. Is the appearance that I'm getting here?
Jockeys are always short, Markstrom, right? You're not. It's not just because that person's short doesn't mean it's a child. Just like Markstrom. So,
although I guess comparatively, they're actually very tall compared to that horse.
Horses are gigantic.
Yeah, that's a huge. That's actually true.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate before you. I see how you're leading this up, but don't bias it too much, dude. Because who knows if it's towards kids, dude? I've met some weird people. Not weird. Let me take that back. I've met people who are into horses, dude.
You don't have to take it back. Horse people are weird. All right. I'm happy to say that. I have no problem saying that. I'll say that with my whole chest. All right. Continue, Abe.
Well, essentially, though, so a lot of it pertains down to not only how they're advertising the game and stuff, but it's the fact that they use an in-game currency to unlock consumables and different items, and in this case, it's like skins and stuff and gear for the horses. So These are the four reasons that the EU combined with the EU Commission combined with the CPC network has stated that this game Star Stable is under fire. It's direct appeals to children in advertisements, which urges them to buy or persuades adults to buy for them in-game currency or items. The use of pressuring techniques such as purchase through limited time practices.
Little FOMO.
That's marketing.
Unduly influence children to purchase in-game virtual currency or in-game content. A lack of clear and transparent information adapted to children about buying and using in-game virtual currency, leading to consumers to spend more than they intend to. And then finally, failure by the company to ensure that the influencers promoting their products clearly disclose commercial content and do not unduly influence children with their marketing techniques.
So it looks like they're hitting it on multiple fronts here.
Sure. Where are these? Do we have any of these ads? What do we look for?
I would like to watch an ad for this. But that being said, you probably wouldn't be able to pull it up if they're doing a bunch of influencer marketing that's not labeled, which, you know what I mean?
Well, no, there's also one of the 5 that he just listed was also in game. So, I mean, is that registration gift right there? Is that going to lead to something funky? Click that.
Are you going to try and get me to log into the game?
Before you know it, they're going to have Abe's bank account, man. That's how this happens.
Abe, you should have been already in there.
Well, hold on. Let me take this off of here, and I will
look around a little bit.
Try to get us in game. Yeah.
Well, what I would like to see is this a kid's game? Like, Roblox is Roblox a kid's game? Marshall?
I know you were held back a few times, but I'm pretty sure this is definitely a kid's game.
Why?
What? Well, I think most well-adjusted adults are not playing a game about horses online and then buying microtransactions to progress through it. It would require the mind of a child to want to go through that process. That's why. No?
Potentially.
All right.
I mean, did you play Farmville?
No, but I know what it is.
Farmville took the world for a storm, bro.
Yeah, it's because they were one of the first like gotcha games on social.
100%. And I wasn't necessarily a kid when I was playing that. Are you saying I'm not a what's the words you used? High functioning? What was it?
Well adjusted.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you played Farmville when Farmville first came out at whatever that age was for you, I don't feel good about it. I'll say that. I didn't play it because I thought to myself, "Wow, that's silly." No?
Okay.
All right. Well, you asked me a question. I gave you an answer. I don't know, man.
It wasn't. Listen, whatever the avatar was for Farmville, it captured a lot of adults.
No, I know it did.
Kids too. And
for sure.
It's like this. Like it's
yeah,
not
but
the same concept,
are we gonna hold the first to do it to the same standards as now that we're like 15 years down the road from Farmville?
How about this? Let me retract any pre-assumed judgments because I don't even know what the frig the game is.
Yeah.
So if we could get some type of trailer or something.
I'm working on it.
To me, if they say it's catered to kids, I'm willing to take them at face value on the fact that it's catered to kids.
Who said it?
The multiple agencies that are trying to establish some governance over what they're able to do.
All right.
I got us a trailer.
Get us a trailer. The graphics are pretty interesting. All right, here we go. Best game ever. Star Stable online horse adventure. Get ready for the ride of your life. See some horses in a stable. Okay. They're walking around the town.
I mean, even the avatars had money symbols floating over their heads.
Choose your style. Okay, we see some different clothes on the jockey. Ride together. You get to ride with the folks. You get to train a horse, not just feed a horse. You get to train a horse, prepare high. Dude, this is just a horse person game, bro. Chat with friends. Find your destiny, dude. Find your destiny. Bro, Find your destiny.
For those listening and not watching the video, this is a game that could not be more clearly made for children, and for some reason or another, Slum's about to try to explain why it's not. Go ahead, Slum.
Bro, I've met people that this would be their game.
You hang out in the wrong circles, big dog. What are we saying here?
See, I tried to get in there before you could do that. I'm not friends with these people anymore. I've met these people.
I'm just saying. I feel.
I was going through.
Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to. I'll let you go first. I'm trying to point out some of the stuff that they're doing that I'm finding already. That lines up with the EU complaint.
Yeah, I think the reality of the situation is it's a cartoon game about horses, and you would have to be not super well adjusted to play this as an adult. That's my take. What if that's crazy? That's crazy, but I think that's pretty normal. Beyond that, utilizing and leveraging scummy microtransactions in a game, regardless of if it's for adults or children, is shitty. Especially the line that refers to the fact that they are not clear or transparent about what you're actually getting for your microtransactions. That's definitely not okay for them to be like, hey, you're paying money. We are not going to be clear about what you actually receive in return from the virtual currency. That's what they're saying here.
Oh, yeah, that's scummy.
Yeah.
But look, Scum said
they also are. I'm not worried about Scum right now. I'm worried about the fact that they specifically are leveraging creators to influence and encourage people, probably also kids, to play the game and buy the micros without those influencers labeling their content as a hashtag ad. They're trying to finesse the system.
Yeah, that's it. That's not even a game thing. That's these types of influencers, right? Because you have to, if you want to follow the rules, do what you do with ads on social media, there's regulations.
They don't want the companies, I would assume. My assumption is that the companies are going out of their way to have them not be true hashtag ads with like disclosure, because on a bunch of different socials, it will have to come up a certain way and be a sponsored thing. If an influencer just happens to talk about X, Y, Z in their own post with no disclosure, then they don't get that. It doesn't work the same way, right?
Well, what do you?
It makes a big difference.
Influencers? Are they scummy or are they not?
A non-disclosed ad?
Yeah, well, you're saying they're trying to skirt the lines.
I think that I'm not going to sit here and crucify them. It's not the way I would do business. And the reality of the situation is that they will likely have a shorter time span in whatever influencer marketing space that they're in right now. Yeah. And if they want to take that short-term gain over playing the long game because they're going to get caught with their pants down doing this shit, then so be it. That's their choice.
That's it.
That's their choice. But I do think that microtransactions are a really gross slippery slope. I think gacha games in general are an embarrassment. I think it's equally embarrassing on the consumer side, like being a fully quote unquote functioning adult who lets these gacha games like ruin you financially through like the childlike addictive nature that exists in their practices.
Do you think this game is even that addictive?
Absolutely not. Not unless you're a young child. No. Or super maladjusted. That being all said, you know, I always put some responsibility on the consumer. But when you start targeting kids specifically, then you can't put the responsibility on the consumer. And that's the difference, right? That is the difference. And so like I think it is predatory at that point, and because you can't expect them to have, they don't understand like money in and of itself. Like, you know what I mean? So like how are you going to manipulate them into purchasing something that they don't understand, that's not even clear, or trying to get their parents to do it for them?
Look, I agree with everything you said, but I'm going to throw something at the end.
I'm listening.
When are you going to give your son a credit card?
I don't think that it's that simple because,
why-
this kinds of shit is usually built into a platform that already has like a some sort of spending thing on it. And you can argue that it's like the parent's responsibility to make sure that blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't always work that way. Like we see that time and time again.
It doesn't work that way it does work that way for the parents who are on top of it. It does.
Well, I mean, you can always go back and like, as a parent, like, you know, like remove the credit card. Doesn't mean that this company should be able to do that freely and not be, you know.
No. I said I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
I agree
Again,
with everything.
I agree that there's responsibility of the consumer, but everything is connected. So much so these days, especially if you're dumb enough to be an Apple user. No offense. Like if your card it's one touch for everything, and it's all based on ease of use, right?
Yep.
But really, it's ease of taking your money.
Yep.
And that's fine. That's fine. You're in the ecosystem. I get it. It's easy. So easy your grandma can do it and lose her entire retirement doing it too. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think like we can go back and forth between all like this applies to so many things. It's the same discussion as like, you know, a parent should be able to control what their kid watches. A parent on top of things should be able to control what their kid watches, but it doesn't mean that you should have sexual content on Nickelodeon.
100%. And no, I don't. Controlling what your kid watches is a way harder battle than allowing them to spend your money freely, even if they don't think they are. The answer to my question that I asked you is never. I never had a credit card until I had my own. So some parents are like, well, when they go to college, they need a credit card. Get a job. You ain't getting my credit card. So even
right,
if
but again, like I don't think the credit card thing necessarily applies to in-game microtransactions because it's not always required.
How do you?
They certainly don't need their own, and oftentimes you don't even need to input anything else because again, it's part of an
microtransaction without a.
It's on a platform. Every microtransaction in an app is just a one-touch thing, and your card's already on the app.
No,
it's Google Pay. Yeah, it's absolutely
not for me.
Okay, it is for every other person in the world. If you're the one exception, then you know, big applause to you.
We're talking kids, right? We're not talking my phone.
Right? The kid shouldn't have the phone to begin with.
Hey, there you go. All right, Grandpa, I'm with you. But this is a web game, right? Or
this
no?
is the I don't know.
You actually, I tried to log in just so you know. I tried to go in with a Chestnut Chubby Wizard was the name of my horse that it picked for me, and I had to download something. It's an application, so it is web based, but it is not like a server browser based game. And you can just look at this stuff. It is littered with trash, even in just the website design, how they're done. I mean, all of the news talks about basically sales and things that are happening that week of horses. All the horses have these star coins as their price. You don't know what a star coin actually costs as far as real money is concerned. And the star coins are all in odd numbers. They're never even. I looked up the star coins and it's $31 for 1,000 star coins. And if you want a horse that's only 40% reduced price, they're over 500 star coin. We're talking $15 a horse. I mean, this is crazy. Kids don't know what star coins are. I mean, I don't know the exchange rate between star coins and dollars. It's just awful. There's literally money symbols. If you zoom in, all the NPCs, they have star coin symbols above their head constantly in a lot of the imagery. I mean, they are littering this with trash to get these kids to spend money.
I agree, Markstrom, with everything you said. I'm just adding on top of it with, look, the first time, you know what? I actually do have a story about this. And excuse me, I just burped. I had a Chipotle bowl. When I had Xbox 360, you needed Xbox Live. I didn't have a credit card. My mom put the credit card in. I definitely bought Xbox points all the time. All the time.
This
That's
shit
not gonna
happens.
happen. It happens. But you know what? Like, it's also my mom, for when she sees Xbox Live, multiple purchases on her credit card, because you're supposed to look at it every month. She'd be like, "Well, what's going on here? Well, I'm gonna discontinue these payments." 100%. That's what I would do. But I don't know what else to say about that. I think me and you take a different approach to the world, which is, I like it, because we go back and forth. I want to, yes, I'll let other people try to put bumpers on the world and the experience. I'm going to just try to prepare for the experience as best as I can.
I think I just realized that most people out there that I've come in contact with aren't capable of raw dogging it like we are. They need the bumpers. Dominic, they need the fucking bumpers. Trust me.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I can count the amount of people who don't need the bumpers on like one hand. And I'm missing a finger. All right?
You know, even if you're the adult adding the money for the star coins in this case, like, how the hell are they supposed to know, like, what this kid's, like, they don't know the exchange rates here and all this stuff.
No,
like,
it's a purchase.
It's crazy.
You'd see it on your credit card statement, probably not even as star stable. It'd probably be a weird LLC that is the business.
Yeah. It's just, this is what they do. And I'm glad that the EU is cracking down on this crap, because this is, I mean, it's so blatantly targeting these kids. It's ridiculous.
Also wish that we even just like kid discussion removed from the situation. I want to see NA kill most micros. I want to see gotcha games be eliminated off the face of the earth. They should not exist. They absolutely should not exist. When you purchase something in a game, it should be very clear what you're getting or what the odds are of you getting something. And that is so often not the case. And I think that sucks. Like, if you're going to gamble, at least disclose the odds. And these games get around that shit. Because, like, even a scratch ticket for your local state, right? Like a scratch off, they have to tell you online, like, here's the number of prizes, here's what they're for, here's how many have been already redeemed, here's how many are left. You can look up all that shit. And so they can be selling a ticket that already has all the big prizes redeemed. And they don't even have to remove it because they disclose it. So I'm okay with that, because it is on the consumer. Hey, dumbass, why don't you go look? And I'm cool with that. But these companies, these game companies specifically, get around all of this, and it just shouldn't be the case. That's
and I hate the in-game currency stuff. I hate the fact that they are hiding behind this in-game currency, and it's not transparent that this thing costs $15 or whatever it is. Simple as that. Say what you want about gambling and CS and stuff too. A CS case has a dollar amount price on it that you pay with dollars, not star coins or CS bucks or any of this trash.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the third-party currency is definitely psychological warfare. I get it. They're gonna do they're gonna push it as far and probably a little bit further than they're allowed to. So that's why the bumpers got to get put on. Fuck these companies. Like, it's just that, and so many studios go this route rather than putting time and effort and development into the game itself. It just becomes their own personal fun land for figuring out how to squeeze the consumer for more and more money over time.
But to be fair, dude, to be fair, this is the highest potential these guys had.
Yeah, that's fact.
These guys weren't making.
What was the name of that horse, Abe?
Mine was Chestnut Chubby Wizard.
What?
Yeah, like, these guys reaching full potential. This is it. Like, this is not them stifling their potential because they could have made the next Dark Souls. This is what these guys were made to do.
I hear you.
And that's that, man. But I agree with you, dude. We're on the same page.
I think so too.
I totally agree. I don't care what happens to these companies. If they get shut down, if regulations get put on, I don't care because it doesn't affect me. But I do understand how it does affect people that aren't as tuned in as they should be, and that's unfortunately a majority of people, and
Yeah.
that's why the bumpers probably should be brought in a little bit.
Yeah. And I think outside of this company, it can have a really positive impact on the actual product, which,
Understood.
I think we'd all like to see. What else we got, Abe?
So this one should be a pretty quick hitter, but I think, and we've talked about this a lot on the podcast in the past, but we've been seeing an increasingly bad trend of industry-wide layoffs in the video game industry, mainly on the development side of things, where a lot of people in development and marketing groups are getting axed on a lot of big titles. While there is a new announcement that just came out in league with the Communication Workers of America, that the formation of a video game union called the United Video Game Workers has just happened this past week. And a lot of this is focused primarily on layoffs. Like it's I'll give you the quote here of one of the people with the CWA and their senior director of organizing who helped do this. Said the creation of this union was not done in isolation. It's a cumulative effort by the thousands of video game workers who have been fighting for years to redefine what it means to stand together and reclaim power in one of the largest and highest grossing industries out there. Given the amount of time, predominantly focused on the worldwide layoffs we have been seeing lately. So,
that I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit of a mouthful. I'm a little lost. What?
Essentially, it's just he's coming out here and saying that they've been fighting for a while now to redefine the rights of the workers in the video game industry. It is an industry, as we've seen really since COVID, has been getting hit with massive layoffs, and people you look at the Marvel Rivals example we talked about, where a successful game, a game that was making money, laid off all of its North American staff, despite the fact that it had success, and kind of just trying to find a way to give some power back, I guess, to those in the video game industry. So I just saw this pop up the other week. I thought it might be interesting to talk, especially on the backs of talking about the European Union, some other types of unions being formed.
Yeah, on the Marvel side of things, I mean, that's one of those, like, there's a disconnect between the expectation, right? Those people got hired to work on a project, right? And not just for the project, but they got hired by a company, and the expectation is like, okay, we do a good job, we make a good game, it gets really popular. I shouldn't have to expect to lose my job right after, because maintaining it requires way less people. Right. And I think that's what ultimately stuff like this is gonna try to avoid. We talked about, maybe hiring employees is not really the right way to do it. And maybe, developers shouldn't look at themselves as full-time employees. Not to say that they shouldn't have, like benefits, etc., but you should be signed on for a project specifically if that's the way that this is going to go. Right. There should be a distinction between the two: people who are, contracted specifically for a project versus who's going to stay on after the project launches to take care of things. Right.
Yeah. For a lot of reasons. To be like, one reason that people might not think of when they think of a benefit of doing that is they can make favorable terms. So let's say it's a 6-month project, or it's a project that finishes when it finishes, and it might take 6 months, it might take a year. Well, since it's a contract, potentially we can get points on the game as well. Since you're not going to be paying us for years to come, like salary wise, maybe we'll take a project based fee and we get a couple points on royalties. Maybe, if you're good at negotiating. Who knows? I don't know what the market will dictate is appropriate, but that is a possibility. Also, it's a possibility that there could be competition and keeping you sharp. These devs that get locked in golden handcuffs at other companies, it's like inevitably they get dull. They don't stay sharp because they're chilling. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's kind of the reality of when you get in a position and you just get to stay there for a while. So the when you start doing contract base and you start just living the life of, okay, I got this project, let me start looking at my next project as well. It keeps you sharp. However, now that I'm thinking about it, it also might not allow you to like be comfortable while you're making the current project, though. That could be a downfall of.
Yeah, you're going to be looking towards like, okay, what else can I get signed on after this? Like, what's the timeline on this? And we all know that dev timelines are unpredictable. That's, you know, it is predictable in the sense that it's always going to be longer than what's expected. And I'll say like this goes back well before 2019 or COVID or whatever, just because like this is the tech industry in a nutsack, right? Ever since the tech explosion of the early 2000s, the trend of things are going good. We hire, we overhire. There's a bit of a pullback, and then we have to fire everybody. Like that's most tech companies. It's not even just gaming. Obviously, COVID made it worse, and I think we also saw, you know, people have different takes on in office, out of office, remote, and how that played a part. Trying to hire people from other countries, right? All of a sudden, because okay, we're gonna do this remote thing. Well, we can just get people who are a lot cheaper. We don't have to hire from where we live. Why would we do that? You know what I mean? So it opened a lot of cans of worms. But you know, I think that to me, what matters is having an appropriate expectation when you get hired or sign on to something, and having those, if this union is what it takes for those things to be clearly defined, for these workers not to get just like fucked every single project, then that's awesome. It needs to happen. Because if we've learned anything paying attention to the gaming industry over the last decade, it's that these massive giga quadruple A companies can't be trusted to do what's right for anyone other than their bottom line and their shareholders, right? At the expense of the product, the consumer, their entire working group. Like, it's bad all around. Completely negligent. So I would like to see it change. And, again, I think that's a pretty easy thing for someone to say, coming off the back of, every single major studio reducing 50% or more in layoffs over the last year and a half. So,
yeah.
And it's unfortunate. I know unions can be a very great thing, but they can also be a bad thing. And I know that's probably a hot take. Some of you might get mad at me for saying this, but just being straight up with you guys, every experience that I've had coming in contact with unions have been very shitty. My wife is a teacher in the teachers union. They don't do shit for her. She's asked for help multiple times. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't want to put in the work. They also say don't cause problems. Like, come on, that's an issue. I've also seen people in the unions be very lazy and unnecessary. However, I do get the importance of what the union stands for and why they were created. I get that.
Yeah, there's always going to be a level of corruption or a path of least resistance. It's someone being lazy and not doing the right thing, and I think that's going to exist everywhere. And like personally, like my parents are in healthcare. There's a union for respiratory therapists, and essentially their main job is to ensure that none of them ever lose their job, even if they absolutely should have 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
And we're talking about literally human lives here at stake, and they're keeping these people I agree that there are circumstances where it is not always the most beneficial, but I think here it makes sense, and I think the need is clear. So hopefully they figure things out, and developers should be able to feel comfortable and inspired. Like, we're talking about, like, I know it's coding, and there's a lot of like type A people who are working on these projects, but at the end of the day, it is creative, and like, you don't want them to be in these positions where it's so easy to feel uninspired and worried and anxiolytic about their day-to-day job that sucks. And that's how we get way worse art in the gaming space.
Well said. Well said. If you think that was well said, do me a solid and click that thumbs up. We're having a great time. Keep it up. I see some of you out there. Click that thumbs up. It truly does help. But let's continue. What else we got, Abe?
All right. So pretty big announcement actually earlier today. So this one's hot off the streets with Nintendo Direct. And really that was a lot of announcements regarding Nintendo Switch 2, our favorite new gaming console, certainly on this podcast. We love the Switch 2. But a lot of things
is it
came
out yet? Is the Switch 2 out yet?
There was officially a Nintendo Direct. Yes. Or this morning.
Is that their press conference?
Literally this morning. Yeah. It's like their big reveal where they talked about it extensively.
So the Switch 2 will be out June 5th. Is the release date of the Switch 2. I believe there's a pre-order process that's going into place now. We can always set up links if people really want to see that, because I have it in the article here too. But the launch price has been announced: $449.99 will be the initial launch price that comes.
Is that how much they are right now?
It's probably close. I don't think that seems like that big of an increase over the current one. And then that gives you essentially the two Joy-Con remotes on the sides of the Switch unit, and like the dock, and just the general Switch unit. No, I don't think it comes with anything else.
$300 to $350 with the bundle currently for Switch 1.
There you go.
Okay. What are the benefits of the Switch 2? Why is it better? Bigger screen,
higher resolution, more processing power, higher frame rate. The dock can do 4K when it's attached to a television. There's some new features to the Joy-Cons, and of course all the new titles will be for it, as well as some additional functionality of a microphone and a camera.
I was just going to say, let's talk about those Joy-Cons, because the microphone's going in the Joy-Cons, and then the camera. So here is what the camera is going to look like too. I'll bring this up, but the camera is going to be like a USB camera that's going on there, and this one is weird. It's
Are you
really
kidding
weird.
me, bro?
It
really
brings us back to like 2005.
Yeah,
it feels like Xbox Connect all over again. It's bad, brother.
What is that?
Yeah.
What
are those?
This is like, I don't even know. There's a lot of jokes that can be made about this camera, and the point of bringing this camera on the road with you. That probably
it's not sexy. I'll tell you that.
Why? Here's all right. Developers, designers. First of all, you should just plug it on like a little piece. Think camera. There you go. It's on the Switch now. Anyone who's going to use that and prop it up somewhere, and you got to be careful how you're moving your Switch, that's not gonna work. You could have made a prop up and then a little thing that connects into just a camera that connects Bluetooth. You don't even need, if you're gonna do a connection, have it on it. Why would you do that?
On it with a handheld is probably non-ideal, because you're gonna get the triple chin angle for a vast majority of users, and then B, it's going to be moving around, right? So it's not going to be stationary, and that's probably not ideal for a lot of what you're doing. I'm fine with the idea of it being stationary, but I agree, the cord, awkward. You don't want some, like, it is USB-C, so like the ability to have a longer USB-C to not worry about, moving around or whatever, that's fine. And then again, it will plug into, like, you will be able to play a game from your couch, no wires to anything, and it's attached to the dock, and the camera's on the dock, and it's just like looking at you on your couch. Like that will be the use case most of the time with the camera, I think.
Understood.
But who's buying a Switch to do any kind of voice communication on their TV while it's in dock mode?
Honestly,
it makes no sense.
Well, hold on now. I hope Spamantha's actually still here, because this is gonna be a rare moment where you're witnessing me change my stance on something in the moment. I'm going to retract the negativity about the Nintendo Switch. Okay. Now here's the thing. I still think people are freaking weird when they just carry around their Switch and play it on the go, and they're grown adults and all that bullshit. However, for a game night, inviting the crew over, the Switch is fire, dude. For that use case, loved it.
It's got a lot of party games.
Yes, and that's I was a GameCube guy, so it makes sense, dude. Like all the Mario parties, shit like that. I love it, man. For game night, it's awesome. You'll never catch me moving outside with it. Absolutely not. But I'm probably gonna buy the Switch too. Just being honest with you guys.
We appreciate your honesty.
Okay.
B, we appreciate you evolving your stance. C, I'm not fucking buying this thing. There's not a world that exists where I am buying this thing, and that's okay. That's fine. It just doesn't suit my needs at all. It doesn't suit my needs. A, I don't leave the house. B, when I do, I got things to actually work on, right? And then C, if I'm home, listen, 2 PCs and a PS5 sitting next to me. This isn't doing it for me. And my hope is that the tech boost that's in it, when it docks to a TV and has the 4K functionality, I want it to look and feel like a next-gen console for the first time since they put out the GameCube. And if it can do that, I too will evolve my stance on the Switch too. But until I see that,
that's game heavy. That's game heavy dependent. Like,
yeah, that's the point. That's what Nintendo brings to the table. Is the IPs.
Okay, understood. I see what you're saying. So, like, I'm not plugging in Mario Party 15 and expecting it to look like like Escape from Tarkov. I'm not expecting that.
No.
But you're saying they could take the IP Link and make it look like Dark Souls.
Give me Zelda Dark Souls on 4K 60 minimum.
Okay.
Preferably 120, but whatever. And yeah, man, take my credit card.
I hear you.
Well, to be fair, you could probably run Tarkov on this and it would perform just like it does on PC.
That's true. Yeah, 4 frames is 4 frames. I think the price point, we talked about this, right? For like what should consoles cost so that they can maintain distance from a PC. And I think what you said,
450 essentially.
Yeah, I think that's genius. I think not putting it at $499 so people can call it $500 is really smart. I think that they nailed the price for this thing. That's as high as they could have gone, but I think they nailed it. From just like the mental detachment from, well, you know, it's this price. If I just saved a little bit more, I could do. You're not doing that. $449. Lock it in. And then of course, right? They are, and here's my criticism, because I feel like I've been pretty positive about this Switch 2 so far.
Okay.
2 USB-Cs, great, love that. Compatible with a lot of things. They're going to sell a bunch of shit for this attachment style. They're going to go full Apple crazy with it, and it is what it is. I hope that they allow third-party things to be used with it. Functionally speaking, probably not.
They're going to add that Sean attachment on the other's USB-C, the robot mouth, and it's going to turn it into a wild machine, dude.
Like a Mr. Wilson just popping over the fence, or
just popping somewhere, dude.
Definitely popping.
I think you're completely accurate with $450. Great price.
Yeah.
I think if I were to build on the concept of the Zelda next gen, do you think Nintendo should make that, or do you think they should license out Zelda to someone like FromSoft?
They are too proud.
I'm just asking. What do you
I would love to
see
it.
What do you think the better play would be?
Oh, they're not capable of making the game that people want.
So they should license it out.
They should license it. That being said, they announced the new Zelda.
Yeah, but
it's
the
just
new Zelda.
It's just another Breath of the Wild prequel of peace and prosperity that can have its custom art style so that it can still run like shit.
It's not them making another Zelda in their mind is not the move is not make it a beautiful Dark Souls looking game.
No.
People love Zelda, make another Zelda. That's what their thing is.
They didn't do that with the Switch game specifically. When we had when GameCube and Wii existed, we saw some variants, but I would still argue that something like Twilight Princess is like a true Zelda title. It's still played like a true Zelda title. The gameplay loops that exist in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it's a completely different game. It's just it's not even close to what Zelda is, and to me, they butchered it. I think that it is. The way that game plays is so incredibly disrespectful of your time. They made it for the person who is traveling and is killing time. And playing that game feels like killing time. And that's fine if you want the most watered down 300 hours of your life sucked away from you to never return. That's fine. But, I'm looking for a much more concentrated experience. And that's always true for me, especially in a single player experience, right? Like I want it to be 10, 15 hours max of just like punch you in the face fun the whole time, right? Just blowing your mind.
Understood.
So
understood.
I believe this is gameplay footage from it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Hyrule Warriors.
Good, dude. Looks pretty good.
This is their newest gen console, though.
But do you
It's
understand
their arts,
they're not?
They do it on purpose.
They're not.
They do it on purpose.
Yes.
It's fine.
They're not going for Dark
Yeah, I'm really
Souls
not
graphics.
I'm not upset about like the graphic thing. Like that's not really where my argument lies. It's way more so in like the kind of game that they're creating.
Okay.
That being said, I don't think this looks good either. I actually think what I'm looking at in this trailer is worse than what I've seen recently.
Really?
So that feels weird. But this looks like JRPG Zelda, and not a good way.
Yeah, so Hyrule Warriors, I believe that's the title. That's the one that was just announced. So
yeah,
it's the prequel to Tears of the Kingdom story-wise, what they said. So it would make sense.
That's a shame. What are you gonna do? At the risk of prematurely cutting this segment, I do want to get into another segment.
Can I real quick?
Go ahead. Yes.
Final addendum on the Zelda front. Not all is lost, Zelda fans. If you feel like I do, there is going to be a live action Zelda. I don't know if it's going to be a TV show or a movie, but I saw some shit about people being cast, and I'm very excited. That's enough to have me bricked up. I hope you're bricked up too. Go ahead, Slum.
It's a movie.
Do we have a current event in the gaming world, or did we go through them and we have some tech stuff? What do we got?
We have some tech stuff. I have a couple tech items. Which one would you like to go?
You surprise us. Go for it.
All right. Well, we got one quick hitter, and then we can go into the last topic that might encourage a little bit more discussion. But the quick hitter is, do you guys remember Napster?
I do indeed.
Yes. And wait, just to be clear, it was Napster, the Justin Timberlake in the social media network.
Correct. Yes. That's the Napster we're talking about here, where download stuff illegally and brick your computer for years. Not
he's like, close. He's like, we won, and he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, you want to buy a Tower Records? That shit was Fireline. For those who saw the movie, you understand what it was.
Never saw it.
Napster, who very famously, seemingly shut down in 2001, was just purchased. A company called Infinite Reality, which is a 3D technology company. They're building virtual 3D spaces for music fans to enjoy concerts and listening parties together. They just bought Napster for $207 million.
That had to be like a fun surprise for the people who had vested interest in Napster at this point. Like, you think 20 years ago they saw 207 mil coming in 2025? I would say probably not.
Probably not.
This is also the same company who got sued by Metallica
Yes.
Is that correct? Right. Okay.
Yes.
Who's still vested in Napster?
Somebody owns it.
Well, yeah.
Somebody made on 207 million. I don't know how many ways that got split, but good for them.
I've been trying to figure out exactly who owns it. I don't really know.
What did they buy?
Well, Napster apparently owned a bunch of streaming rights for music.
That's awesome.
So
I love that.
As a result of that, that is what this company is essentially purchasing,
Right.
so they can get because now Infinite Reality owns the rights to stream like millions of tracks that Napster owned the licenses to, which they could do in their new spaces, their 3D spaces that they're
probably cheaper to buy Napster and have those licenses transfer than rebuy the licenses today. That's really funny.
Who is there any way we could see the music rights?
It's pretty. The articles that I was reading about it don't go into too much depth about kind of what it literally. All I've seen is Napster owns the licenses to millions of streaming tracks.
That is funny.
That's the line that keeps popping up in like the 4 articles I've read. So,
okay, understood.
So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. That I didn't even think Napster still existed, let alone would sell for $207 million last week. So, and then I got to choose your own adventure here. We could talk about another app on a phone, or we could talk about some kind of ancient.
I feel like we've been skipping the aliens for a bit here. I know how you love your aliens.
Yeah, it could be aliens, Slum, and that's because I don't know if you've seen the news the past couple of weeks about these what they call it's a radar imaging technology known as synthetic aperture radar. Scientists have been using it to scan below the pyramids. And I don't know if you've seen some of the images and stuff that they've found, but essentially these scans are, and specifically we're talking about the Khafre, I think it's Khafre pyramid. Underneath that pyramid at its base, it has 5 identical structures that are all connected by pathways. And then they are on top of 8 vertical wells that go incredibly deep, over 640 meters into the ground. And I can let me bring up this video.
Can you bring up an image?
Yeah.
There you go.
This guy was talking about it in here. Let me skip ahead a little bit here to like this stuff.
What you are looking at is called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. This advanced tech reveals details of the undiscovered high-resolution internal structure of the Khafre pyramid. Near the base of the pyramid, 5 identical structures are seen, connected by geometric.
All right, so bad time, but you see the top, like the roofs looking things? Yeah. The roof looking things. Is that the top of the pyramid? Is that what they're claiming?
Yeah, so if you look, see this black bar here? These black bars. So this is at the base of the pyramid. Okay. They have these 5 structures that look to this, and then beneath them are these like coiled deep wells that go 640 meters into the ground.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So all of these images about like these intricate things that are going on underneath the pyramids, it's leaving people to believe that there's been wild conspiracy theories, but a lot of scientists are struggling to pinpoint exactly how these are still just tombs for pharaohs, right? That's what we've always thought these were.
Yeah, and also that a less advanced civilization built this.
Correct. A lot of the conspiracy theories are theorizing this was a way to draw energy out of the earth to power whatever alien civilization was. Yeah, essentially.
I've heard the power plant theory. It's interesting, but I don't want to get too deep into that. I'm more interested in like, did a less advanced civilization build this? Do people still think that a less advanced civilization built this stuff? Because this is freaking wild.
Yeah, it goes insanely deep. Like I said, these wells they're dug insanely deep into the ground. 640 meters into essentially stone, and I think it was sandstone. Was
so what are they saying? What's the theory?
Well, they don't really know. They have to do more investigation as to what these were and how they were built. But the images reveal that this stuff all exists underneath these structures.
That's crazy.
I think it's interesting. Like you can learn so much about ancient civilizations by like looking at the underground depths and the layers of what was built on top of each other. You know what I mean? Like you can see like the different periods that existed, because like really it just keeps going, right?
just really quick on that, I was blown away at exactly what you just said. I watched a Netflix series, and apparently this guy's controversial, so I'm not going to drop his name, but he goes and visits ancient stuff. And there's a wall where you can see the different civilizations because it starts with this material and this type of stone making. And then the next 5 feet is different stone making and different cleanliness and attention to detail. And then on top of that is even different. And I'm just looking at it and I'm blown away.
You can see the tech progression over time. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
It's really cool in Rome too, because Rome is essentially built on top of itself, and they call it the lasagna of Italy or something, because it has different, as you go deeper into the ground, it's built on top of old parts of the civilization. And it's actually incredibly hard for them to dig new subway tunnels because they end up hitting ancient ruins underground that have been built over quite often.
Cool problem to have.
So
yeah, I think it leads me to think maybe these coils had nothing to do with the pyramids at first. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Maybe they just built it at a location that existed for a different reason with different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely fascinating. I do think that the ancient Egyptians, I think that they were, when we think ancient civilization, I think a lot of people think that these people were less developed mentally and just stupid, right? Cavemen. They equate it to, oh, this was a monkey man.
Yes.
With a big forehead who didn't know anything. But these people were wildly intelligent mathematicians. And it's those people who paved the way for us to be where we're at now, right? With tech. And so I believe that they absolutely built it. I think it's hard to wrap one's head around that with lost information over time.
Yes.
But I think if we had all the pieces and we looked at it, it would make sense. It's just almost impossible because the record keeping at that time, for as far away from that as we are now, it's lost, man.
Yeah, do people, I guess some people probably think aliens or whatever, but the thing is, when I say it's not ancient civilization and less advanced are not synonyms to me. They are there could have been a civilization that was more advanced than us right now, in my opinion. I don't freaking know. I'm just saying there could have been, and then they might have got wiped out or something. I don't know. Big rocks from space hit our planet. That happened.
And we keep finding human beings that are older and older and older.
Yeah.
And so, an actual human being, not some monkey man, but we consider a Homo sapien right now has been, we keep backdating this based on what we find year after year after year.
Crazy.
We're hundreds of thousands of years back from where we started thinking okay, this is where it began. And we just keep learning more, which is definitely cool.
I love it, dude. I love it.
They call these things wells too that they dug, and you can see the image depictions they're doing here. Maybe it could have been a way for them to try and get more access to water that was underground, which is a genius thing to do, to dig down that deep for groundwater. There's a lot of logical sense to it other than aliens, but it's fun to believe the aliens.
We're also putting modern Western civilization thoughts behind that.
Yeah,
we're trying to make sense of it with our mind. This is for the religious people, it's the same type of thing when they're you're trying to make sense of what God is. It's on a total different plane. You don't understand it. Same type of thing as that. We're trying to put our thoughts behind it. Oh, it's a path that leads to potential water. That's a well. Back in the day, they might have been no, it's actually a teleportation device, and they actually rotate when we press this button, and it shoots us to China. I know that's a crazy extreme, but
the teleportation is actually when we human sacrifice. We throw it down the well. They don't come back. So bing, boom, boom. we throw that bitch
down.
real deep.
Tell you what,
one day they'll come back.
Yeah, They're taking a journey.
We harvest. Harvest has been great lately.
But it is funny that people put like it's got to be this because this is how things work over here. It's like you have no clue. We have no clue, dude.
It is fun to think about, though. Certainly fun to theorize.
It's so interesting, dude.
Yeah, I'd like to visit the pyramids. That'd be cool.
I would love to.
Yeah, Egyptian food is bomb too. For clarity.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
You just got to go on a day that Mr. Beast didn't rent them out.
That's true. You know? That would be disappointing.
Mr. Beast schedule.
Before I jump to my next thing that I'm going to say is those listening now, would you kindly, if you didn't already, hit that like button. We appreciate you being here. But Markstrom, why don't you tell me about what's coming up in your life? What's new? What's going on, dude?
Can't share everything.
Okay.
But there are some exciting things happening. Some things that I can share are we have some new DayZ experiences coming up that I'm really looking forward to. Some new servers, some new maps, and I think that will lead to some phenomenal content. It's been really fun diving back into DayZ. We're gonna keep doing that. We also have our annual Gamers for Giving, where we raise money to bring gaming to kids in hospitals with Gamers Outreach. And that fundraising date is April 12th and the 13th. I will be streaming live from Eastern Michigan University Convocation Center in a pit of broadcasters. Think Jerry Lewis telethon meets the streaming world. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we raise a lot of money and have a big impact. So we got that coming up. If you'd like to learn more, gamersoutreach.com.
Yeah, it's always a good time. And I mean, charities, so you never know where to donate your money with charities, but Gamers Outreach, man, the evolution of the go-karts, what they're doing with hospitals, that's just freaking awesome. I'm super excited. I'm always happy to support it.
It's gamersoutreach.org, but COM redirects you, and that's what matters. I had a feeling.
Oh, man.
That's why I checked. But yeah, if you'd like to come by, and then you can always see what we're doing, see the stream, see how much money we raised, and that'll be at twitch.tv/Markstrom.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Abe, how about you, dude?
Just once again, want to echo. Please take part in the gamers outreach stuff. It's awesome. Watch a video of those little kids playing games on those cards and try not to donate. It's impossible. But what they do is awesome. And then, I'm obviously moderating over the stream. I'm also very happy. You guys know I like my old MMOs. My Dark Age of Camelot Free Shard server reopened. So anybody that ever wants to play that, hit me up sometime. I'll tell you about it. I'll share you the information with you on how you get involved in that. But other than that, twitch.tv/Markstrom. I'm there moderating every day I can, interacting with chat and having fun.
Dude, remember in the video of Markstrom and Gamers Outreach, that kid was shitting on Markstrom in Rocket League? That's so good, dude. I can't believe they put that in there.
How am I supposed to compete, dude?
That was so good, dude.
I haven't been on the sticks in 20 years.
That's kind of wild that you were like, yeah, I'll play this kid in Rocket League. Shits on you.
What? That's what I'm there for, man. He was hype about it, and that's what matters.
I lost on purpose, I swear. Honestly, let's just put the full power behind Gamers Outreach. I'm not even going to ask you guys to do anything else. Besides, would you kindly hit that subscribe button? If you haven't subscribed to Plug Podcasts on YouTube, what are you waiting for? Press the button. Hit the bell. It truly does help. And when you give us a thumbs up, it truly does help. We love doing this podcast. And if you were to share this podcast with people in your DMs, people like your mom, your dad, your sister, the fish in the fishbowl, the dog on the couch, and all the people in your DMs, all the people you talk to, it would tremendously help this podcast grow. So we do appreciate it that you guys come, take time to be here with us and share, because we really enjoy doing it. And we want to share this good time with as many people as we can. We do this podcast every week unless Markstrom has a baby, Abe goes on vacation, or like last week, I had to pull out, unfortunately, and I do apologize about that.
He doesn't always, because eventually he's going to add himself to the having the baby list. That's coming up real soon.
It is coming up real soon.
We might miss a pod or two. We'll see. We'll keep you apprised of the situation, though.
But I do have a wonderful time. I think I can speak for all of us here when I say I have a wonderful time doing this. We have a wonderful time doing this, and we want to keep doing it. So thank you very much for showing up. This has been a wonderful episode of the Plug Podcast, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Deuces.